Right, let's dive into this. UK universities. You've sent in a ton of stuff, so much data.
Yeah.
It looks like a really interesting picture. This is not just numbers, though, is it?
No, not at all.
It's like a whole cultural shift and a financial, kind of a reshaping of how people are doing higher education in the UK.
Yeah.
So first of all, I have to say, this fact about master's degree visas, that blew me away. They tripled in just a few years, then completely took a nosedive.
Yeah. It's incredible. It speaks to the interconnectedness of all these different factors, you know?
Yeah.
Like a whole ecosystem that's in flux.
All right. So let's start with the international student roller coaster. I love that phrase.
Yeah.
So in 2023, 300,000 international postgraduate students, triple the number from just a few years before.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge influx of people.
It is. And, you know, a lot of universities banked on this continued growth, right?
Right.
When they were planning their budgets. But those projections didn't materialize, and it really left some institutions in a very precarious financial position.
So why? Why did this happen? Why did the boom kind of fizzle out?
Well, a couple of things. Brexit definitely contributed to a decline in EU students. That was to be expected, you know. And then in 2019, the UK reinstated that post-study work visa.
Right.
And that led to a big surge, particularly from West Africa.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, students drawn to the potential career opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. But then applications from Nigeria, I mean, a big source of international students, they dropped by 70% in early 2024.
I know. What happened? What happened there?
It's hard to say. It really is. Some say it was because of increased visa processing times.
Okay.
Others point to economic factors within Nigeria.
Okay.
That might be making it harder for students to afford overseas education.
Makes sense.
But then, on the flip side, we see this rise in South Asian applications. A 35% increase from Pakistan.
So, yeah, it's like a constant reshuffling, geographically speaking.
It's not a steady stream. It's like
Yeah.
a wave and then a trickle and then another wave.
Exactly. And this unpredictability, I think, is something that universities are going to have to really prepare for.
It's new normal.
Because each of these student groups brings their own needs, you know, their own expectations shaped by cultural backgrounds, personal goals. And it's not a one-size-fits-all scenario.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Speaking of demographic shifting, let's talk about the rise of the commuter student.
Yeah.
I was actually really surprised by this. Nearly half of all UK undergraduates now live at home and commute to uni.
Yeah. It's double.
That's double the number from just a few years ago. So what's going on?
Well, the cost of living crisis is a major factor.
Oh, yeah.
On-campus housing is just too expensive for a lot of students.
Yeah, it's just not
affordable.
It's not realistic. But is this do you think it's a sign of something bigger? Like, is this how people are now starting to think about
I think so, yeah.
education in the UK?
I think so. We're seeing more preference for flexible learning, remote learning, partially influenced by the pandemic, of course, but also these financial pressures and the need for students to work alongside their studies, you know, block timetabling, where classes are just concentrated into a few days a week, is becoming much more popular.
Okay. So it makes sense in that way.
Yeah.
But I do wonder about the sort of traditional university experience.
Yeah.
You know, that sense of community you get from living on campus.
Yeah.
Interacting with professors, you know, really being immersed in it.
Yeah.
Is that being lost?
That's the big question universities are struggling with, right?
Right.
How do we become more attuned to students' diverse needs by offering this flexible learning and professional support services,
Right.
but at the same time not weaken those crucial, you know, student-faculty relationships?
Right. Yeah.
And that sense of community that really is central to the experience.
Yeah. It seems like a real balancing act.
It is.
Trying to adapt to these new realities, but also preserve the core values of higher education.
Yeah.
So where do they go from here?
Well, the idea of a one-size-fits-all student experience, I think that's gone.
Gone.
You know, and some universities are looking to this framework called the Student Futures Manifesto to kind of guide their approach.
Okay, so what is the Student Futures Manifesto? What is that?
It's an attempt to really move away from that singular student experience, you know, and embrace these more nuanced and individualized approaches.
Okay.
Really understanding the specific needs and aspirations of different student groups. So some students might be prioritizing UK work experience.
Right.
Others might be more focused on international connections or cutting-edge research.
So it's like universities have got to become these expert data detectives now.
I do.
And really figure out What are the motivations of our student body? Interesting.
And be agile and responsive in how they adapt their strategies.
Yeah.
Because it is a dynamic situation that demands constant attention.
Absolutely. It makes me wonder, are universities sort of transforming? Like from the old image of this grand ivory tower institution,
Yeah.
are they becoming these like personalized learning platforms
It's fascinating.
for the future?
And, there are even more shifts happening within the academic subjects themselves.
Whoa.
So in the UK, we're seeing this swing towards STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Oh, right.
And while that's happening, humanities and languages are seeing a decline in applications.
Interesting. So are they like scrambling to keep up with the STEM?
Yeah, they are.
The demand.
But here's the thing. STEM courses, they're expensive to deliver.
Okay.
They need special equipment, labs, specialized faculty.
Right, of course.
And while that's happening, universities are having to close down some humanities programs because of low enrollment.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So they're being pulled in two different directions.
Yeah, they are.
It's hard.
Yeah. And the Engineering Professors Council, they've actually raised concerns, that engineering applications, they're outstripping the supply of university places.
Right.
Just because of funding constraints. They just don't have the resources to expand fast enough.
Okay. So you have basically students want to study this.
Yeah.
The job market needs this.
Needs it.
The universities can't deliver it.
Can't deliver.
Because of funding.
Exactly.
Disconnect.
Yeah, and it raises big questions about the sustainability of the UK higher education funding model.
Right.
Is it really fit for purpose in the 21st century?
Wow. This is a huge...
It's a huge...
systemic issue.
Systemic.
It's not just about individual universities. It's the whole system.
It's the whole landscape.
That's like reshaping higher ed.
And this isn't just a UK thing either. These trends are global. They're affecting universities all over the world.
This is a deep dive. I mean, we are really going deep here. We've covered so much already. I mean, international students, commuter students, the financial stuff, the STEM swing.
It's a complex issue.
So just to pause for a second as you've been listening to all of this.
Yeah.
What has stood out to you the most? What are you thinking?
Well, it's definitely a lot to take in, isn't it?
A lot to think about. All right, we're going to keep exploring this in part 2.
Yeah.
We're going to go even deeper into these challenges, the opportunities.
Absolutely.
What this all means for the future of higher ed in the UK. So stick with us.
This whole STEM thing, and the financial strain it's putting on universities. It's like you've got all these engineering firms desperate for skilled graduates. Yeah. But the universities are struggling to produce them at the rate they need, and the funding model just doesn't seem to be keeping pace.
It's like they're being asked to run a marathon.
I know.
But with one leg tied behind their back?
Exactly. Exactly. And that raises the question, is the current system even equipped to handle this kind of evolution?
Is it incentivizing the right kind of growth? Is it flexible enough?
Yeah.
Big questions for policymakers, I think.
Big questions. And what about the humanities?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Where do they fit into all of this?
Yeah, languages, all that. Will we see those fields just gradually decline?
It's a concern, isn't it?
Or will they find a way to reinvent themselves?
Because they bring so much to the table.
Yeah.
Critical thinking, broadening perspectives. We need that.
We need it.
We need a balance, right?
Yeah.
Universities should be these vibrant centers of exploration across a diverse range of disciplines, not just the ones that are seen as profitable.
Totally. Okay, so let's talk about the students themselves for a minute.
Yeah.
How are they navigating this whole crazy new world of higher education?
Well, one thing that's really striking is the diversity of their expectations and needs. This one-size-fits-all approach, it just doesn't work anymore. Students are coming in with a much clearer idea of what they want to achieve and how they want to learn.
So universities need to become much more responsive, more personalized.
Absolutely.
Really attuned to those individual goals.
It's about crafting a student experience that's tailored to their needs, their goals, their learning style.
Right.
No two students are the same.
Yeah.
And their education shouldn't be treated as such.
It's like universities are now having to be masters of adaptation.
They are. Constantly evolving to meet the needs of a changing student body, a changing world.
A changing job market. It's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's exciting. Yeah. It's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity.
So what are you seeing? What are some of the encouraging signs? Are universities stepping up?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Many are rising to the occasion, They're developing creative solutions, forging new partnerships. They're finding innovative ways to engage students.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
That's awesome. It's a testament to their resilience.
Yeah,
They're committed to providing this world-class education in the face of all this.
absolutely. And it's not just about reacting, right?
Right.
It's about harnessing those changes to create something new,
Okay.
something exciting.
So turning lemons into lemonade.
Exactly.
Okay.
Seeing the challenges as opportunities
Okay.
for growth, for transformation,
Instead of just being stuck.
rather than roadblocks. Yeah,
Okay, I like that. So pushing boundaries, challenging assumptions,
absolutely.
reimagining what higher ed can be in this century.
Yeah,
Are they at a crossroads, do you think?
I think they are. Yeah.
I mean, they can either cling to the old ways and risk becoming irrelevant,
Yeah.
or embrace the change
Yeah.
and emerge as these, like, beacons of innovation,
That's right.
of progress.
A pivotal moment in their history.
It really is. And as you said, it's not
Right.
just the UK.
It's
These are global trends.
This is the future of higher education worldwide.
This is huge.
Yeah.
And we've only scratched the surface, haven't we?
For so much more.
We haven't even touched on technology, the role of faculty, all that.
Yeah, the expectations of employers too.
It's like an onion.
Mm-hmm.
So many layers.
Yeah.
But I think we need a moment to breathe, process all of this.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest.
A lot to take in. So we'll be back in part 3
Yes.
to continue our exploration of this ever-changing world of UK universities. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back for the final part of this deep dive into UK universities and all the changes that are happening. We've been talking about a lot of, challenges, but also some really cool innovation. What are some of the encouraging things you're seeing out there?
Well, one thing that's really exciting is how universities are using technology, not just for, remote learning, but to really enhance the whole student experience.
So it's more than just Zoom lectures.
Oh, way more. We're talking personalized learning platforms, virtual reality labs, even AI tutoring systems. It's pretty wild.
It's like futuristic. But it's not just about the cool gadgets, right? It's about making learning more accessible, more inclusive for everyone.
Exactly. If you're a commuter student juggling work and studies, or an international student in a new culture, technology can help bridge those gaps, create a more supportive, more personalized experience.
And that makes me think about the role of faculty. It seems like professors are doing so much more now than just lecturing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're mentors, they're guides, they're facilitators, helping students navigate this new world of digital learning, connect the dots between theory and practice.
It's like they're academic Sherpas guiding students up this, this challenging but exciting mountain of higher education.
I like that. And we can't forget about employers in all of this. They're the ones who ultimately benefit from what graduates bring to the workforce.
Right. So they have a big stake in making sure universities are producing graduates who are like adaptable, innovative, ready for whatever this crazy century throws at them.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we're seeing more and more collaboration between universities and businesses, internships, research partnerships, even co-designing curriculum.
So it's breaking down that wall between academia and the real world.
Exactly. Making sure graduates have both the knowledge and the experience that employers are looking for.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Preparing students not just for their first job, but for a lifetime of learning.
It's about fostering that love of learning, that thirst for knowledge that will stay with them forever.
It's about making them critical thinkers, problem solvers, lifelong learners, people who can thrive in a world that's, well, pretty unpredictable.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's safe to say that UK universities are at a crossroads.
They're facing huge challenges, but there's also this incredible energy for change, for innovation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, after everything we've discussed, what's next for them?
I think the future's bright, but it's going to belong to those universities that are willing to adapt, really listen to their students, build strong partnerships. Those are the ones that are going to thrive.
It sounds like it's going to be a fascinating journey to watch.
Definitely.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into the changing world of UK universities. I hope this has given you a lot to think about, some new insights, maybe even spark some ideas of your own. So keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep. Thanks for listening.